Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today we're fortunate to have as our guest Thea Perez. Thea is the founder, and she now serves as the creative director for Polychrome, an online marketplace for original print patterns and trend direction in the fashion industry. During the program, we're finding out why and how Polychrome came about, how it differs from other print producers, and the subsequent benefits clients can receive compared to more traditional print vendors. Let's start by meeting Thea and then finding out all about Polychrome. Welcome, Thea. So delighted you're able to be here.
I feel really lucky to come here, so thank you for taking time to talk to me.
No, it's been fascinating trying to figure out the innovative work you've been doing. I think I have a pretty good handle on it now, so I'm interested to learn more and then have you inform viewers for really what seems to be a breakthrough in print design. But before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest to start by just hearing a little bit about your background and how that led you to Polychrome.
Well, it's been sort of a long, winding journey. Although I always wanted to be in fashion, I knew from a really young age that was exactly where I needed to be. I went to Rhode Island School of Design and studied fashion design, and I spent my entire career since graduation working in the industry. And I've been really fortunate to have a number of different positions. Like I've worked for really tiny avant-garde companies that show their lines on the Paris runways, and I've worked at large mass market brands too, and catalog brands. And then I freelanced for a really long time. And some of the things that I've noticed and picked up on the journey was just how stressed designers are. And I know it's kind of a big joke because everybody knows we're not saving any lives out there, but there's just so many moving parts that are out of your control that I think it makes the process of getting your idea from your initial conception onto the rack or into the customer's hands. It's a really long, stressful process with lots of moving parts that the general public probably has no idea about.
Right, right.
Yeah, so the idea about Polychrome came about because I saw some inefficiencies going on in the business, not only when I was working full-time, but also as a freelancer. And I just thought, wow, now we have technology that we could make this problem a little less burdensome for design teams. And I always wondered why, why print studios weren't taking more advantage. And so that's really kind of the initial idea behind it, trying to solve that pain point.
Yeah, and we're going to expound upon that. And I have to say, that just strikes me in the face when I get a handle on your product is why haven't other print studios taken advantage of software that's out there? And we'll hear some of your thoughts about that shortly. Let's show people the website, and maybe you can highlight some of the features when they go online to find out more about the company.
Sure. So we are at polychrome.design. That's our web address. And we really only have like at its core, three different things that we offer clients. We offer a print collection that they can purchase directly from their website. And you can see on the website that you can go to the print shop or you can go up to the top menu bar and find the prints. We offer seasonal trends. They're forecasts that come out about 12 to 18 months ahead so that fashion design teams can look and get another angle on what they may be wanting to hit upon to look trend-worthy next year. And all of our prints are actually designed into those trend projections as well. So there's sort of like a sense of cohesion between those two products. And then the very last thing that we have isn't actually available directly from the website. They're custom services, but clients can go to the website, find out what kinds of things that we offer as custom services, and then just drop us a line and let us know what they're looking for. We do a lot of custom print work for clients.
And when we go to the print shop page, what will we encounter there?
So the print shop page, I've tried my best to make it as streamlined and simple as possible for people to navigate. So you'll see the thumbnails. The things at the top are the most recently uploaded prints for the most part. When you hover over them, it will actually show you a second colorway. Almost all of our prints, I'd have to say 98% of the print stock comes with additional colorways included, so that's actually unusual in our industry. That usually isn't offered. But because we're selling the prints with a copyright transfer, we can't use the second colorways that we've come up with anyway, so we might as well pass that on to the client. But some tools that they can find on the site are on the left-hand side. There are some filters. So if a client knows specifically that they're looking for a floral and that they would like it to, be printed on sportswear, for instance, they can select those filters so that they're looking at a much smaller array of our prints and targeting in on what they really need. Yeah, when they click on one of those, that will lead them to the shopping page, and as soon as they purchase, the print gets delivered right to their inbox. So the purchase is really fast and easy.
That's nice. And I think that is one of the key features of your company, is the saving of time.
Yeah.
And before we get to shortly a little video clip, would you maybe highlight what you've done with your process to save designers time?
I will. So in the industry, time is just like lots of industries. I'm not going to pretend fashion is the only one, but time is really of the essence, and it just feels like the thing you never have enough of. And I was noticing that at some of the print shows, the large trade shows that people go in person to look at stock from print studios, some of the attendance had seemed to be dwindling over the past 10 years or so. And when I sort of asked people about this and what's going on, why aren't you coming to the show, they just don't have time. So since what designers really need these days is a digital file that they can send off to the mill, my thinking was, why aren't we just doing this digitally? They don't have to get on a plane and go to a show or take time out from their busy day. They could be shopping this even from their smartphone. If they're taking the train in on the subway in New York and they're taking the train into work, they can literally be buying what they need, and it'll be there when they're ready for it when they get into the office. So that's one way we save time. And then the other essential way that we like to save designers time is that the prints themselves are engineered to be really, really easy to edit.
I know, this is the really fascinating
feature. This is sort of the impetus really for me starting Polychrome in the first place is typically when designers will go out and buy a print pattern, the number one thing that they need is to fall in love with it. They have to love the print. So that's the most important thing. So that as a given that they're going to love, they're going to find some print that they love. But the problem is in recent years, even though a lot of print studios will say we're delivering a digital file, what you will end up getting is a high quality, high resolution JPEG or PDF quite frequently. And that's marvelous, but all it really has done for you is to save you the process of scanning. You still have a ton of work to do if you want to make any edits or changes. So it just doesn't need to be that hard. We know we have to take on some of that burden to make it easier for the clients. So when someone gets one of our files, they get delivered either a Photoshop or Illustrator file, depending on how the initial artist made it. But it's all layered and organized, so it's super easy to edit. So you'll see in the clip later some of the most common edits, I guess, and how fast it can go.
Well, for time's sake, because we have so much good stuff to share, we're going to see the first part of the clip to give viewers just a taste of some of the editing.
Makes sense.
And they can follow up on your YouTube channel and other areas to see some more extensive cuts. So any other words before we roll that clip?
No, I guess the last thing that I'd like to say in a nutshell is that it's really important that the print is beautiful, but what I also want designers to feel as soon as they open up our prints or even look at our trends is just this feeling of relief. Like, okay, this is great, this is going to make my life easier. That's really what our goal is at Polychrome.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, let's take a look at the clip and then we'll continue our conversation.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Thea Perez of Polychrome.design, and I'm here today to show you how easy it is to edit one of our original Polychrome prints. Now, if you don't know about Polychrome, we provide print patterns and trend information to the fashion industry, to fashion teams. And the thing that is so unique about our beautiful prints is they're not only beautiful, but they're really, really easy for design teams to edit, so we save them a lot of time in their development process. And I'd like to show you how easy one of our prints is actually to edit. So you'll notice that this print is a Photoshop print. We actually do have prints on our collection that are vector illustrator prints, but for this particular video I thought I'd start off with a Photoshop print. One of the things you might also notice upon looking at this piece is that there is a watermark, a logo watermark, all over our print. Now, all of our prints are visible on our website, so we need to protect them. If you need to remove the watermark from a print you've purchased from us, it's as simple as opening up the template folder and shutting off the watermark, or even selecting that layer and throwing it in the trash because you won't need it anymore. You'll also notice that there's two different colorways to this print. So there's a khaki colorway and a blue colorway. That's worth noting because most of the prints in the Polychrome collection come with multiple colorways included, which is another unique thing about our service. For today's purposes, we're just going to edit the khaki colorway. So I'm going to actually shut off the visibility to the blue one so that we don't get ourselves confused. And I'm going to open up the khaki colorway folder, and the very first thing I'd like to show you is just how easy it is to change the background, because that is probably one of the most common edits that a design team will have to make. And in our print library, all of the prints have the background on a totally separate layer. So it's really, really easy to change, and you won't need to go through a lot of gymnastics in order to do so. You just select the layer, and you select the paint fill bucket. Make sure that you have foreground selected and not pattern, and then just go over to the color that you would like to fill the background in. I'm going to choose white for our demo today, and that's it. Now, if this is the only edit that you had to make to this print, that's fantastic because you're all done. You just need to save the version and send it off to your mill. But I'd also like to review a couple of other common edits just so that you can really see
and continue our conversation. But I know in the clip people can follow up, as we said, on YouTube and see some of the other edits you can make. But already with that one introduction, it impresses upon me the ease it takes to manipulate that doesn't seem to be available in other type of vendors. Is that the case?
I think some vendors are slowly starting to catch on, but all of the clients that have worked with our prints we've gotten really good feedback. They've said, wow, this was so easy, it was organized. As soon as I opened it up, I could find what I needed to, and that's music to my ears, because that's what we're going for. And
we'll hear some testimony in a little while, but before we get there, you brought in some wonderful examples of prints. Can we see what you have there, please?
Sure thing. I'll show you several. Tried to pick a nice variety. So we have some florals, and we have some animals and abstracts and things like that on our collection. This is an example of a lovely floral. And this artist, her name is Yi, and she works out of the Orient, and she makes the most beautiful abstracts, but she also makes really lovely novelties.
How do you go about assembling your different designers?
The design team. There's actually a place on our site that someone could go to apply to become a Polychrome designer. So you just scroll down to careers if anyone is interested, and fill out the application and send us your portfolio. But we're really lucky because one of the things that Polychrome also is a little bit different in is that not all of our artists are trained as textile designers or fashion designers or even illustrators. We do have lots of artists on the team that do other kinds of artwork. So we'll have abstract painters and some sculptors rather. We have people that do lithographs and photographs. And I think that having these artists in our pool, they kind of give us a new insight as to what is culturally trendworthy. And also they just kind of bring a new breath of air into what we're doing.
No, they're gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
Gorgeous.
Okay, so this is what we're about, and you can see the whole collection when you go to our site.
What was the process like to come up with this idea of how to edit and come up with a variety of prints rather seamlessly? What did you go through in that type of thinking? What challenges did you have and breakthroughs in your thinking?
Oh, that's a hard one. I feel like every day there's a little cliff that you're jumping off with no parachute, and then you have a breakthrough how to build it on the way down, they say. Well, really the original concept of even having Polychrome was just born from the frustration that I would see the CAD designer have on the teams that we were working on. That you would bring this print home And like I said, it would be high quality, but it would just be a flat JPEG or PDF, and then you'd hear the CAD designer groan, you know? She'd say, oh my gosh, I have, 4 of these from you and 5 from the person that's doing, the outerwear, and how am I gonna do all this? And so it was just the thinking, like, this can be faster, this can be so much easier if we were leveraging technology the way that it should. Some of the challenges that have come about are figuring out, how do I still let like all of the variety of this artist's voice come through while still trying to adhere to having some level of consistency that our clients can expect when they open the file. And I feel like our game is kind of getting tighter all the time. We're sort of improving and making little tweaks as customers give us feedback too. But in general, it isn't that every print needs to adhere to a specific set of rules as much as the golden rule is, when our client opens this, how easy is it going to be for them? We need to make their life easy. If your print can do that, that's really all the dictating I need to give you.
But, for somebody like me, a layman in the field of fashion design, it just seems so obvious to have this type of service and feature for my design team. But I guess I'm hearing, like any new quote-unquote technology, it's hard to maybe crack the marketplace. Is that the case?
It is. It's interesting too, because like there are so many things that seem obvious, like that's just logical. Why aren't we doing it this way? I'll give you another example that I've neglected to mention so far, that most of Polychrome's collection is in repeat. They're repeat print patterns, not placement prints like you would see on a t-shirt or a tote. And you'd be surprised how many times I've run into an instance where you'd purchase a print from another vendor and it wasn't in perfect repeat. So that really isn't serving the client very well. All of our prints are in perfect repeat. They have to be, because that's not solving a problem for the client. If they get something home and they think it's in repeat, it's almost worse than if they realized it wasn't from the beginning. So I just feel like you need to be approaching this not just from an aesthetic viewpoint of, oh, the prints need to be beautiful and on trend. You really need to be serving what the client is telling you that they need. And so that's how our business is growing, because even though the clients that we're working with are happy, I'm constantly saying, like, how could we make it better?
Well, I think that's what more and more inventors are figuring out. I think it took a while, but I think it's now getting more commonplace that it makes sense to go to your client base and hear their feedback and not just come up with a product and let it go to market, but to get that feedback to see what really is needed out there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sign of weakness to say, we're not done fixing, like making this as good as it can be, because I think the clients get excited that you actually want to hear what they're not happy about.
Most definitely, most definitely. Another feature we saw on the web page are the trends. And going to bring up some images, and if you could highlight the different features and how they relate to your trend designs.
Sure. So this is a trend called high craft, and it's projected for this upcoming autumn-winter. So it's autumn-winter 20 into 21. And I wanted to, with the trend itself, I wanted to highlight the importance that sustainability is starting to take in the marketplace. This has been being talked about for quite some time in certain circles, but I feel like last year it just sort of reached this moment where most consumers now, it's on their radar. They might be willing to spend a tiny bit more for it, or at least they want to hear a little bit more about it. And high craft is about getting back in touch with the actual craft of how things are made and an appreciation of it. So the slide that you're looking at, the image that is on the right, that's a trend newsletter, and that goes out to our subscribers. So as soon as a trend gets published, we'll send out a newsletter highlighting each specific trend so that they know, oh, there's something, a new trend to go look at there on the Polychrome page. Anybody can go on the page and see the new trends that are there, but it's kind of nice to get a little heads up in your inbox.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds like an exciting feature to be in the industry, and definitely be looking forward to receiving that. And as we continue, we see the other possibilities.
Yeah, so this is, if you were to go to the trend market on our website, which you can find again just on the top menu bar, it probably looks pretty similar to the layout of the print shop, in that each tile represents a separate product that you can buy. So unlike the prints where the copyright is transferred as soon as it is purchased. Anybody can buy the trends, and they're able to use them internally with their teams. If somebody were to click on the high craft trend, for instance, I have a button on there. That brings you to the shopping page, and it'll give you a description of what you'll actually get when you purchase that trend.
And I think we'll see progression here.
So there's the shopping page that I just mentioned. The trend comes with several different pages, and it gets immediately delivered as a PDF.
That's
so
fabulous.
As soon as you pay the purchase price, the trend is yours to use. And then I wanted to give some examples of the pages. We're going to go backwards. This is actually the last page of the trend. So we give an accessories and shoes snapshot to our customers. A lot of people had mentioned it would be really nice to see how you might accessorize this group.
Great.
Silhouettes and details, that's something that's really, really important for our client base. They want to know, if I'm going to be subscribing to this trend for my target audience, what kind of pants do I want to address that trend? What kind of tops are we looking at? And this page and the one that will be following it, this is kind of our bread and butter. So this is the print and pattern direction of this trend. And this is probably the part that we really want to impart to our clients. Like, if you love this high craft trend, these are the prints that you're going to want to consider having in your collection.
That's wonderful.
And then the color direction page is really important. Each trend comes with its own unique color palette. We use Pantone's TCX color code system, which is pretty industry standard. There are other color coding systems out there that are also really marvelous, but up to this point, Pantone's probably the most universally used.
So in addition to getting fabulous product, it's like getting with your service and product your own consultant in the fashion industry.
Yeah. And our trend reports are a little more concise than some of the larger trend houses, but I've had some feedback that that's actually really helpful because, you know, designers feel like they get a good snapshot of what's going on. So the mood and inspiration page is exactly what it's labeled. It's just to sort of give the client an overall impression of what the aesthetic and direction of this trend is going to be about. And then the title page, there's actually some verbiage on every title page, kind of letting you in on the romantic story about what this trend is about, so you really get sort of led into the picture. And then this is currently what all of our trend reports look like. Each report is a 6-page report. And we do have a new feature. Now every image is hyperlinked. So you're getting a PDF with live hyperlinks, and you can find your way back to the original sources where we found these images.
Well, both of these features complement each other so well. The print and the trends really put the whole package together.
Yeah, and one of the ways that it works in our collection is, even though we have all of these artists working in such diverse ways, because they're using the same color palette and they're designing into these trends, it gives our collection the sense of cohesion.
You know, a little earlier you mentioned some of the positive feedback and reactions that you'd be receiving. And we're fortunate to have an audio tape, and then we're going to see some images of this design house's work. It's Peach, and we're going to hear from the fashion designer. Could you share a little bit about her and a little bit about Peach before we hear that?
Sure. So I'm really lucky to have Peach as one of our early on clients. Peach is this wonderful startup in Waltham, so they're another local business. They produce athletic and athleisure wear for women, really beautiful things, lovely silhouettes. And the head designer, her name is Daniela Bascunan. We've been doing a lot of custom prints for her, and I think that's what the audio clip is all about, her reflections on working with us.
So we're going to roll in the audio clip, and as we listen to Daniela, we're going to see a number of selections from Peach.
Yeah, and all the prints in the selections are polychrome prints.
Fabulous. Okay, let's listen to that clip, please.
On athleisure and do about 5 seasonal collections a year, each one with a unique color palette and point of view. Because of the startup environment, my day-to-day can be super hectic and stressful, so I try to use resources that will maximize my efficiency when coming up with a new line. Polychrome has been an amazing partner since the beginning. In addition to their trend services, they have been able to save me time and stress by providing beautiful prints for us, which have resulted in some of our top-selling styles. The beauty of Polychrome is that all of their prints are delivered in a full repeat, So when I receive file, I can immediately forward it to our fabric mills, and I don't have to spend any time tweaking it or changing its format. This honestly has been a huge time saver. Having the partnership with Thea and Polychrome not only helps keep me on calendar, as I know that they will deliver great service in a timely manner, but also directionally, anything from Polychrome will be on trend, leading to products that our customers will love. Cut.
Those are fabulous.
Yay!
And such a great example of the product in action.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see the different selections, and we can enjoy one more right there.
I feel really lucky to have them as clients. They're great to work with, and I think we've made some really lovely product together.
Most definitely, most definitely. What are some of your current efforts in addition to what you've highlighted so far?
Well, aside from always trying to tweak the product to get it to be better and better serve our clients, we're building our base of artists all the time. We currently have about 30 artists that are working all over the world and contributing to our collection in their own special way. The artists also contribute to our trend research before we go ahead and accumulate those forecasts. And a nice place that viewers could go if they're curious to take a little peek ahead is if they follow us on Pinterest. Our handle there is @4poly, so it's FORPOLY. That's actually our social media handle pretty much across platforms, but on Pinterest they'll actually get to see some of the mood boards that we've assembled with all of the research, not that just myself compiles, but other artists all over the world are kind of pouring in. And so that's kind of a nice way to get some trend insights and inspiration as well. And that's how we compile stuff ahead of producing the polished forecasts and then going on to making the prints.
Just thinking ahead in your process in the industry, how far ahead do you have to be planning for different trends?
It really depends on the product category. There are some product lines that are required to be developed really far ahead, you know, even 2 years ahead or more. Wow. They're working. We are like targeting clients that are working more like a year and a half or so ahead for the most part. And we also find that a lot of people are kind of coming to us after they have some of the line developed, but they feel like we have a gap here, we have a space here that we know we want to have a printed blouse, but we wanted to sort of wait and get something that we knew was of the moment. And so they're kind of working, they might leave a gap open for working a little closer to season. So I guess helping that entire span of clients is our goal. I would really love to be able to eventually have different categories of product that we're addressing more so. Right now I'm really focused on women's wear.
Okay. Well, unfortunately we have to wrap up. I want to thank you so much for being here, really explaining the groundbreaking work that you're doing and continuing to integrate into the industry and continued success. Call people's attention to going to your website, polychrome.design, and they can find other social media avenues from there. Continued success. Thank you so much,
Thank you for having
Thea,
me.
for being here. Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.